Thought I'd contribute with the story of my current housemates. I can't take it anymore. For privacy's sake, let's call my housemates James, Harry, Luke and Heather. Let's go back in time to last year, when I lived in university halls. I was a first year and I struggled to keep up with any of my friends on my course. Most of them traveled, so I never saw them outside of lecture, and that's when I met my current housemates whilst in halls. I saw them virtually every day. When it came to the decision to move out into private accommodation, it was easy. James and I have become very close, and by this point in time we had been a couple for around 6 months. Harry was James' housemate and he was very quiet and was in the same society we were. Luke and Heather were very close, and spent the whole time complaining about how messy their housemates were. Perfect. I'm a neat freak. These sound like the guys for me. We spent the remaining time up until we moved in talking about the meals we were going to cook together, the things we would do whilst we were in the house because we were close and saw each other all the time. Then it came to the move-in date. The first week went all as planned. We cooked together, took turns doing chores, etc., as good housemates should, and then everything that began to annoy me started. James and I purchased food for lunches and breakfast because we only cooked dinner as a group. We soon discovered our food was disappearing. Every time it came round to dinner, someone was in charge of cooking, but we all chipped in with the preparation. Due to the case of the disappearing food, we became suspicious. Turned out that they also used our food for dinners, so we brought it up with them. Nothing happened, so we dropped out of cooking as a group. Eventually, all things we did as a group declined and everyone soon stayed in their rooms. We saw Harry all the time at socials and in the kitchen, so we felt we were still pretty close. But we would never see Luke or Heather. I would occasionally knock on Luke's door to pop in and see them for a chat or a discussion. Luke and Heather are a thing. Even though at this point she had a boyfriend back home, but eventually the conversations became one-sided. I found myself only knocking on their door if a bill was due, or there was something I needed them to do. Anyways, the main point of this story is the mess. As we never washed up together anymore, no one seemed to be capable to wash up by themselves. James and I always did our bit, mainly due to the clean freak thing, but, weeks on, the pile in the kitchen grew to the point we were struggling to find anything to cook with. The best bit is that they always used our cooking pots, frying pans, etc. first before even touching theirs. I constantly brought this up, including issues such as their electricity usage every time I knocked on their door for a chat, but eventually it seemed it went in one ear and out the other. To deal with the washing up issues, my steps in turn were talk to them about it by knocking on their door and chatting. James called to separate house meetings to discuss the issues of electricity and washing up, left them notes on the whiteboard in the lounge, organized chores for everyone, where Heather and Luke, the culprits, did the kitchen. James and I did the bathrooms and Harry did the vacuuming. Repeated step 3. Group messaged them on Facebook. Each time I brought the issue up, they would blame Harry. At first this worked, as they knew last year James would complain about Harry's mess, which Harry would always clean if you mentioned it to him. We knew it wasn't Harry's stuff. We started washing up with him again, to prove if they were the culprits or not. By this point their attitude had not changed, and there had been sightings of mice in the house. I have a very weak immune system, so I gradually became ill. I have no idea if it's due to the mold in the house, or the fact it was unsanitary, but I was always ill. So, I resorted to taking a picture of the mess, posting it on Facebook, and tagging them into the picture with the title, "You made me do this. I asked you multiple times, please clean up your crap." Yes, I admit, this tactic was a low dig, and wasn't the smartest of ideas, but I was at my wit's end, and the always being ill had gone to my head. Over the space of an hour I had gotten plenty of abuse from Heather and Luke's housemates from last year. Yes, the very housemates they had previously complained about. Every time I responded, I simply replied with basis of, "Please clean your stuff." Each time Heather replied, she got more and more abusive, to the point of calling me petty, a bitch, and every other name under the sun. I was in the middle of a shopping trip with the boyfriend, and whilst inside a shop, I just broke down and cried. I emailed the landlord and asked to be removed from the contract, and simultaneously removed the Facebook post. The landlord responded and told us we need to find someone to replace us before we can move out. The breaking point was about mid-December, and now it's currently a month onwards. I hate the fact I haven't been able to move out, because it's hard to sell a house you don't want to live in. The house's mold problem has grown and we're hoping to use that to void the contract. Luke has improved, but Heather seems to avoid us. For a few weeks after asking to move out, their behavior got quite petty. Whilst we were in the kitchen, we would hear Heather and Luke come out of their rooms, get to the bottom of the stairs, realize we were using the kitchen, and quickly run up the stairs before we noticed them. They would also run to and from the bathroom in case we came out of our rooms at any one point.